Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the any type. The any type in TypeScript is inferred or annotated when a variable doesn't have a specific type, meaning the variable could be of any type possible. It is very important for you to keep in mind that when using the type any, we lose all type safety and all type checking that is provided to us by TypeScript. So whenever TypeScript sees this type any, or it infers the type of any, what it is going to do is it's going to throw everything out of the window, and it is going to basically become plain old JavaScript. And that is not what we want. That is not why we are here. But there are some specific and very limited use cases to any. But my suggestion for you is, as starting to learn TypeScript and moving on to even intermediate level, just go ahead and completely avoid the type any. Whenever you want to use type any, it means that you have not actually completely understood what your code is and how it works. All right, so you have to understand your code, and I'm sure you're going to come up with some way to type annotate that variable or that function or return type or whatever, or class, to something other than any. But since this is a specific type in TypeScript and you are bound to see it, you are bound to come across this type when writing code or when taking a look at other people's code, library code especially. So you have to understand it. All right, I'm going to create a variable and I'm going to call it grade, and I'm going to type annotate it to any. And I'm going to give it a value of 15. Now, I told you that when a variable has this type annotation, it could be of any type. So technically, we can grab this and we can say, now the number 15 has changed its type and its value from any, because it is any, it has changed its type to something that is a string. It could also be a Boolean as well. So you can see this is like plain old JavaScript, and it is right here. We don't have any type safety. We don't have any type checking. We have nothing. And this is something that we wanna make sure we stay away from this. Now, if you have, if we take a look at our previous example, TypeScript inferred this type for us. Let me just copy that, put it right here, and I'm going to uncomment this because we have not given these specific values. Now, it is null, which means that there is no value, and it is undefined, which basically means that there is no value. So what TypeScript has done is it has assigned it has inferred a type of any, because TypeScript doesn't know what the type of the value is. That's why it has said, okay, I'm just going to type, and I'm going to infer the type as any. I don't know what the value is, and I'm going to infer the same thing here as well. It doesn't mean that null and undefined are the same. It just means TypeScript has no type information available. Therefore, it just does, basically defaults to its factory settings, which is like type annotated to any. All right. And there is one other place where you might see type any. For example, if you declare a variable and not initialize it. What I mean is, like, you give it the variable name and do not provide a value for that variable. For example, let's say we have a math score or grade or whatever, and we do not, we declare this variable, not initialize it. So let's see what the type annotation for this is going to be, what the type inference, to be more exact, is going to be. And we can see it is any. Why it is any? Because again, TypeScript doesn't know what to infer the type for this variable, how to infer the type for this variable, because there is no information provided to it. So instead of doing this, a better way would be to provide the type annotation whenever you're declaring a variable and not initializing it. So in this case, I want this to be a number, and I'm not going to give it a value. And later on in my code, I'm going to grab that and I'm going to say, okay, the number is 15 or the number is 95. And then later down below in my code, if I go ahead and if I access this variable name, and if I change it to 95 is string, I'm going to get an error. Type string is not assignable to type number. Now, this is a common pattern in applications or in games. You declare a variable, not initialize it, but you initialize it later in your code. It is a good idea to actually type annotate this variable. This is one of the places where you do not let TypeScript infer the type, because TypeScript is going to infer an incorrect type. Even though when you have like simple variables, we talked about that right here, like you create a variable of type age or full name or whatever that has like simple values like 30 or a string or whatever, then it is safe to let TypeScript infer the type, because in these situations, TypeScript knows based on the value what the type of the variable is. Keep in mind, the type of the variable comes from the value that that variable holds. So if the variable doesn't have a value, it means that it is going to be very difficult for TypeScript to infer the type because it doesn't have a value. That's why it's a good idea to make sure that TypeScript knows what the type is. That's why it's recommended to go this way. So I'm going to say, I'm going to provide a comment bad, and I'm going to say recommend it. Right? That is it for this video. See you in the next one.